Welcome to the channel. In this video, we will see how we can write a C program to swap the values present in two different variables by using a temporary variable. You can use this method with all types of data. This is not restricted to integer type. You can use it with character, double, etc. So here, first we will see what logic we are going to use. Now here, in order to demonstrate this, I will use the character variables. So here in our program, initially we will have two variables. For example, let us say var1 and var2. And since these are going to be of type character, we will store the characters in them. var1 will contain the capital A and var2 will contain capital Z. Now what we want to do here is we want to use a third variable, let us call it as temp, and we want to swap the values which are present in var1 and var2. So after swapping, var1 will contain Z, var2 will contain A. So here initially in this temp variable we can store any character. For example, we can store the string termination character. Now here what we are going to do is initially we will store the value present in this var1 in this temp variable. To do that, we will write the code temp equal to var1. So after performing this particular calculation, what happens is the temp variable will contain capital A, var1 will contain capital A, var2 will contain capital Z. Now after that, since we have already stored the value of this var1 in this temp, what we can do is we can change the value of this var1. So we will write var1 equal to var2, which is nothing but we will store the value of the variable 2 in this variable 1. So when we do this, what happens is the temp variable will contain capital A because of this particular statement, and since we are storing the var2's value in this var1, var1 will also contain capital Z. So now what we wanted var1 to contain the value of var2, it is happening here. Now finally what we have to do is we have to make this var2 to contain the value of var1 which is present in this temp variable. So we will perform var2 is equal to temp. Okay, so once we perform this particular operation, what happens is temp variable is containing capital A, that will be stored in this var2. So now in the beginning, var1 was containing capital A, var2 was containing capital Z. After these three steps, after performing these three operations, var1 will contain capital Z, var2 will contain capital A. So now let us see how we can implement this in a C program. So here what I have done is I have included the stdio.h header file to this particular program so that we can use the functions like printf and scanf. And then we have the main function, which is the entry point of our program from our perspective. Now here initially we will declare the variables that we need. As I said before, we will be working on the character types of values in this program. I will take the data type as char. I will define the first variable. I will call it as var1 and I will store capital A in this. And then I will declare another variable. I will call it as var2 and I will store the value of capital Z in this. And after that, I will declare another variable. I will call it as temp. And in this temp variable, I will store the string termination character, which is denoted by this \0. Okay. Now, what we do is we will display these values before swapping. So here I will use this printf function and I will display before swapping, and then we will display the values of this var1 and var2. Okay. After that, we have to perform the actual operations for swapping the values. If you remember, first what we do is we will store the value of var1 in this temp variable. So it will be temp equal to var1 And after that, since we have already saved the value of var1 in this temp, what we can do is we can alter the value of var1. So we will write var1 equal to var2. Okay, and finally we will update the value of var2 with the value present in this temp variable. Now here initially I am storing the value of var1 in this temp. If you want, you can store the value of var2 in the temp also. I want you guys to modify this program, and I want you guys to store the value of var2 in the temp in the beginning and then construct the logic. Try that, post your code in the comment section. Now finally we will display the values after swapping. So I will use the printf function in here. I will display after swapping, and then I will display the values of var1 and var2. Now I will save this program and I will run this. Now if you go for the terminal, here we can see the output. It says before swapping, var1 is containing capital A, var2 is containing capital Z. After swapping, var1 is containing capital Z, var2 is containing capital A. Now here, this logic that we are using, it can be applied for different data types. Here, for the demonstration purpose, I have used the character type. You can use it with integers and doubles. So this is it guys for this particular video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you have anything to say, write that in the comment box. For more tutorials, subscribe to the channel.